Hey folks, this is the Maine Prepper. Today we're going to have a look at three pieces of gear back to back because they're so small and very easy to cover. On my right here, or your left, is the Condor modular handheld radio pouch. In the center is the Condor tactical, it's basically a compass pouch. This was about $11.95, this was $7.25, and this is the Condor drop pouch. These are all in tactical coyote tan color, and they're all MOLLE compatible, as you can see. Each of them has double, except for this one, which is a single mounting point. This is good for not only your cell phone, but I like it for my Motorola's, and that's essentially what it's for. It's not for an embidder or a larger type radio. It's very small, and I'll show you with my cell phone. Now my cell phone's a little tight fitting in here because I've got the armoring on the outside of it because I tend to drop it. So as such, it's really snug in here. I wouldn't even need to put it in or strap it down. But it does have a Velcro across the top, and the Velcro is very aggressive, as you can see, or better yet, here. There are these very strong elastic type shoelaces, which if I wanted to, I could further add tension to it via this keeper. It has a weep hole in the bottom, which is handy. Hopefully you won't get any water in there while your commo gear is in, but if it is there, it's not going to keep your commo gear soaking. On that note, these weep holes are also very good, especially if they're a fair size, because when you do get dirt and dust in them, it's a bit of a problem. Now this is a lighter, slightly lighter nylon, and I think that's on purpose, not as a cheap measure, but rather I believe that it makes it a little bit less rough on your communications gear, because they understand you're only going to put something lightweight in here. Your Motorola or your cell phone is a very lightweight piece of gear. That being said, however, the MOLLE strap on the back is typical of that we find on Condor gear, which is double over and stitched up down the middle and the sides, and there is a piece of firm plastic in here. Has the usual color button and the standard snap type button. There are two weave through loops in the back, and these are actually stretchy, which is interesting. So there's a lot of interesting features about this that are different from some of the other Condor gear. I really like the Condor gear. This one has nice batting around the edges. That's what this piece is, I'm told, by seamstresses. And that is a good nylon thread in between, it appears. All right. Second piece of gear we're going to look at is a compass pouch. And I will show you with my military lensatic compass. It holds it perfectly. I recommend if you do have your compass in a pouch, it's a sensitive item if you're on active duty. If you lose it, and I lost one when I was a young Marine, and my platoon sergeant bailed me out. If you do have it on here, you want to dummy cord this to your gear. Now, I don't recommend you dummy cord it up too high on your body because it's going to be hanging in the way. So what I tend to do is I try to just dummy cord it close, and I'll show you when I have this put in, as close as I can to the compass. That way it's somewhat out of the way. Very simple piece of gear. It has a single side keeper buckle, and this is a smaller one, but it is heavy duty enough, and it's fairly strong. It's not as strong as some of the other buckles that I've had on some of the other gear, but because of the size of it, I think it doesn't need to be bigger. So they didn't go overboard on anything, but they didn't go underboard either. A single weep hole in the bottom. Now this one's interesting because it has black buttons and a black, not that it matters, but these are black. However, they're just as good. The MOLLE system is the same. However, these are Velcro, and that's not always the case on everything. This one, as you can see, is not Velcroed. So this is Velcroed, which gives us some additional options. I'm not sure exactly how I could use that or what that would mean, but it's a nice little touch. It gives me a little bit more versatility. Very well made, very well stitched, just like all the other Condor gear. I like Condor gear because the prices are really good, and it's sturdy enough. It maybe isn't good for if you're going to be doing active duty stuff downrange. However, it may be good enough for anybody else. Active duty downrange, though, we get stuff issued to us. Back home, I have this. This is mine. I bought it for me, not just to review. This is going to actually go on my gear. All right, let's set that aside. We'll look at the last and very interesting piece, which is the Condor Molly drop pouch. Again, Molly attachments on the back, same as all the other Molly gear. No Velcro here, but just doubled over single piece of inch nylon and stitched on just the outside edges, not down the middle. And there's a plastic backing in between, which gives it's a stiffener. Okay. This pouch, a drop pouch, is an important piece of gear if you don't want to drop your magazines on the ground. You don't want to throw them in your cargo pockets. Maybe you don't have cargo pockets. All right, so if you know you're going to go roll in to do a mission or whatever, you can unfold this and roll it out. And it will hold several magazines, perhaps 8 or 9 magazines in here, with them sticking out the top, of course. At the bottom is another weep hole, and the weep holes are also good for getting dust out a little bit easier and keeping too much dust from building up inside. It has 3 pieces of Velcro on here, and I'll show you why. You can keep this rolled out and just put the flap closed on it so it's not in the way. All right. That's what this second piece of Velcro is for inside here. Normally, you're carrying it rolled up like so, and it's on your gear. And that way it's tucked out of the way and it's not hanging down, so birds can come nest in it, and you can put corn seed in and go plant that in the field. I always thought it looked odd when I'd see people walking around with the pouch open in Garrison, but maybe they were about ready to roll out and assault the chow hall. I don't know. Okay, it's a very sturdy nylon, and it's a little bit thicker nylon than, say, the pouch was for this. That being said, it's probably the standard size thickness of nylon that we seem to see on most of the Condor gear. And inside there's nothing to write home about, nothing spectacular. It's stitched together fairly well, and they did overlap this part, the exterior parts, which is nice. So you don't have these stitches exposed. Kind of a nice little feature. That's an extra add-on. And it's a single stitch on the inside though, but they did bat it over and bat it down. The stitching looks good on it. It looks sturdy enough for our uses. Again, if you're going to be downrange, I don't necessarily recommend this if you're going to get a lot of heavy use. Then again, for $11.95, you could buy 2 of them. And if you don't wind up using the second one, bring it home and build your own rig with 2 pouches on there if you like. Okay, it has other uses as well. You could probably use it to carry a canteen around or something in, but for me, it's going to go on my chest rig as part of, and it's going to be for a drop pouch on there. So, these are the 3 pieces of gear, $11.95. This one's about $12.95, and I think this one was $7.95, minus the compass, of course. Folks, this has been the Maine Prepper, and this is a threefer. And check here for the rest of the gear that goes on the chest rig, and also my gear reviews. Thanks for tuning in, and y'all have a great day.